Following the protocols, wearing the masks, keeping my distance, doing everything that I need to do. I'm being terminated with just cause for my vax stance.
And so this case will really bring this to the court's attention. A 29-year employee that's decorated at work, has always been loyal, has a long family history there. It was very well liked by both her colleagues and her employers. And now she's looking for help.
Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Adam Soos here for Rebel News, and many of you very likely recall the emotional interview that we were granted by Karene Irwin fresh off her termination from the Glencoe Club.
Going on, and I have no safety net. I don't know how I'm going to find a job at this time of year.
She worked there for years, and it was a place she considered a second home, so much so that many of her family members worked there as well. Well, she was heartbroken when she was terminated over her vaccination status, but she's not going out without a fight. And to join me now with an update, her legal counsel, Derek Fromm.
So Karene Irwin was a 29-year employee of the Glencoe Club in Calgary, and her case is really important for the development of Canadian law. And the reason is this: she was let go for choosing what was her right, not to vaccinate. Her employer didn't like that. Her employer did not give her an option to test. Her employer didn't recognize natural immunity. It was, you must take the vaccine or you're going to be terminated. So Karene couldn't take the vaccine. She didn't want to take the risk with her health. And she has religious beliefs that have made it impossible for her to take the vaccine. So she ended up, in the middle of October, out the door and on an unpaid leave, and then shortly after that she received a record of employment from her former employer saying that she was dismissed with cause. Now, I'm sure people are familiar with what that means. Dismissed with cause means you get no severance, you don't even get to apply for EI. So Karene is challenging that, and we're about ready to file her documents against her former employer, and we're asking for a fair severance package for her. And we're also going to ask the court, honestly, what is the law on this? Because before COVID happened, if an employer decided that you must vaccinate, even though your employment contract was silent on it, well, that's probably a constructive dismissal or a wrongful dismissal when you're subsequently let go. And so this case will really bring this to the court's attention. A 29-year employee that's decorated at work, has always been loyal, has a long family history there. It was very well liked by both her colleagues and her employers. And now she's looking for help.
And so this very much could be among some of the other cases that are ongoing, one of the precedent-setting cases. And just to be clear for folks out there, this isn't a you have to keep this person employed. This is simply you've decided to make this person unemployed, and therefore you owe them severance. Is that right?
That's correct. Because the law in Canada is no employer has to keep someone employed. You can fire someone for almost any reason at any time. Now, the human rights legislation does restrict that somewhat, and there's other factors too. But employers don't have to keep any employee. Now, when you do fire an employee without cause and you're an employer, you owe them severance based upon their age, the market conditions, their status in the company, a number of other factors like that's in the case law. But in this case, the employer decided to just dispense with all that, including the duty of good faith that employers have towards employees. And we're going to argue very vigorously on her behalf that she is owed the severance of a 29-year employee.
And so what is the timeline for this? I know lots of people frustrated out there. Could be months, could be years. When are we actually going to get some answers and get some case law that can set precedent?
Well, cases do take a long time to work their way through the courts, and that is frustrating. The law doesn't provide quick answers. It just doesn't. It's not well equipped to that. We have to wait till damage is done, and then we have to go through the proper processes to get a matter heard by the court. But in this case, the facts really won't be in dispute. The other side knows she was employed for that same period of time that we're going to assert. The terms of her employment are known to both sides, and the reasons for her constructive dismissal are known to both sides. So we're hoping that we can move this forward in a relatively quick, rapid way and have this precedent set.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank you, Derek, for this important update on this story. We're telling stories like these and countless others, thousands across the country who are in good standing and have done everything right simply over their vaccination status have been shown the door. We have very many of those people being represented through fightvaccinepassports.com. So if you want to help us and you want to support those initiatives, go to fightvaccinepassports.com. Karene, very lucky to have you in her corner for this fight. Thanks again for the update. And for everyone out there, thanks so much for tuning in. For Rebel News, I'm Adam Soos. If you agree with the thousands of people gathered behind me that vaccine mandates violate Canadians' fundamental rights and are fundamentally un-Canadian, you can help us fight back by going to fightvaccinepassports.com. Any donations you make there go to the Democracy Fund, a registered charity, so you'll receive a tax receipt for your contribution to the fight for freedom.